In a massive victory, Labour Party has come back to power after 14 long years. It is the Conservatives who lost the election. It's been a drubbing that the Labour Party has served to Rishi Sunak and his party. Let's start our conversation. Joining me on the telecast right now is a former BBC editor. He is a journalist, and let's hear his point of view from the British point of view of how the elections went, why have people voted for the Labour Party in such large numbers, and what is the expectation that they have from Keir Starmer, who is all set to become the new Prime Minister of United Kingdom. Nicholas Nugent, he's a senior journalist. Like I said, he's a former editor of the BBC. Thank you very much for joining us. And your view about the victory of Labour Party with such a massive margin of they won as many as 412 of those seats.
Well, I'm a journalist. I'm not giving you a comment. I can tell you that it was not unexpected, because the mood of the people has been made quite clear in opinion polls that they are tired, if not exhausted, with 14 years of one-party rule, the Conservative Party. And frankly, the state of the nation is not very strong, especially the economy. So the opinion polls have been predicting the change of government for some weeks, and now it's happened. It's happened, and I think as I say, the mood of the nation seems to welcome this. The Labour Party got an overwhelming vote, much greater than it has had before. I mean, even greater than it got in 1997, and that seems to me to reflect the mood towards the incoming government, which is very positive indeed.
How are the India-UK bilateral relations and trade ties looking like under Keir Starmer?
Well, as I've indicated, they're looking for an easing of our financial situation. Of course, they would like to see taxes reduced, but more than that, they would like to see certain problems in the economy solved. And I will name two that the Conservatives haven't managed to solve. One is the National Health Service, the fact that you cannot see a doctor in the National Health Service instantly. You have to wait, and it never used to be like that. Now, this is probably because of a shortage of staff in the health service, and putting that right requires recruiting more staff and indeed finding the money to pay them. So I think that's number one. Number two, as the election shows, is a problem with immigration. Two sorts of immigration: the illegal arrival of people in small boats, which has become a very big issue in the country, and the Conservatives were committed to solving it, and they've manifestly failed. So the people are hopeful that the Labour Party will solve it, though it has made clear it has a different tack, a different approach to that. And that's perhaps the key, the illegal immigration, but even legal immigration is an issue, because there are far more people coming to Britain than are leaving. And this is partly to fill job vacancies, which, as I say, is slowing down the economy. So everything's closely connected. And I'm sure Labour Party or the incoming government will try to solve all these things. But the other thing is there's not much money around, because both major parties, promised not to increase taxes. And if you don't increase taxes, you have no money to pay for more staff in the National Health Service, for example, or care workers. And if you're restricting immigration, you have no way of bringing in workers to fill the gaps in employment that exist, especially in the care sector, caring for elderly people, for example, and also in the fruit picking sector. which these are two traditional areas where Britain has always looked to bring in foreign workers. There are plenty of other issues here because, as you probably know, students coming to study also add to those net immigration figures, especially if they bring family members. So there's a lot of interconnected stuff that the incoming government needs to try to solve. But they've made it clear that far from being the traditional Labour Party, which believes in relatively high tax and welfare state, they intend to encourage business, encourage enterprise.
Right.
And
right,
that
absolutely.
is done by lowering
Absolutely.
taxes.
Thank you.
So
Thank
you
you,
see what a
Nicholas
challenge.
Nugent, for joining me on the telecast.